All right, let's talk about Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban. Now, these two aren't our usual topic of conversation here at the channel, but when the news hit in September 2025 that they were splitting after 2 whole decades of marriage, and then we heard whispers about Keith getting cozy with a much younger new interest. Honey, we knew we had to dig into this whole situation. You already know how it is. In this video, we're breaking down how this whole thing began, where it all went sideways, and all the little clues that suggest this union might have been on shaky ground from the very beginning. But before we get into all this juicy drama, sweetheart, because you know you're messy for this, make sure you grab yourself some snacks from our shop. That's right, head over to our online snack store where you'll find everything from Applewood smoked bacon jerky to freeze-dried treats and the most delicious butter toffee peanuts. Get your munchies ready. Now back to our story. Let's rewind. Nicole tied the knot with Tom Cruise back in 1990, even though pretty much everyone in her circle was telling her it was a terrible idea. She herself said, "My agents back then were basically like, do not get married, it's going to wreck your career." But did she listen? Of course not. She was head over heels and couldn't have cared less about fame, so she jumped right into that complicated situation. They went on to adopt 2 children, Isabella and Connor. But after 11 years of marriage, Tom was the one who filed for divorce. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Tom filed. And get this. Their kids have been pretty much estranged from her since just a few years after the divorce was finalized. Wait a minute. Hold on now. What in the world happened between her and those children? I am genuinely confused, baby, and I need answers like it's urgent. What kind of mysterious family drama is unfolding here? As for Keith's past, he was previously in a relationship with a woman named Laura Sigler. A report from back in the day quoted Laura saying, "He's incredibly charming and knows all the right things to say, but I just wasn't sure Keith would ever truly be ready to commit." He later moved on with model Nikki Taylor, but that romance fizzled out too. He's also been very open about his battles with addiction. In one interview, he talked about his heavy reliance on alcohol and other substances as a way to cope during the early days of his music career. He admitted, "My father was an alcoholic, so that was the environment I grew up in, and it took me a long time to accept that I was built the same way." Go on and blame your dad, Keith. Blame him. Just kidding, everybody. These are just jokes. Don't come for me. You know I don't have a single ounce of sense when I get going. He mentioned that he doesn't look down on people who can enjoy those things socially, but he realized he simply couldn't handle them himself. He famously said, "I finally understood I'm basically allergic to it." Somebody once asked him, "An allergy? What happens when you drink?" And he replied, "I break out in handcuffs." He completed a rehab program in 1998, and his first self-titled studio album dropped in 1999. Now here's the twist. Even though they both grew up in Australia, Nicole and Keith never actually met until 2005, when they were both at a gala event. A mutual friend gave him Nicole's number, but believe it or not, he waited a whole 4 months before he called her. 4 months? She told Ellen DeGeneres, "I had the biggest crush on him, and he just was not interested in me. It's the truth." When he was later asked why it took him so long to make that call, Keith told an Australian TV program that he felt Nicole was just too good for him. He explained, "I thought she was completely out of my league. I might have a big imagination about what's possible in life, but never in a million years did I think someone like her would ever look twice at somebody like me." He also mentioned that he was going through a pretty rough patch in his personal life at that time. What was the matter, Keith? Were you getting a little too friendly with the bottle again? Huh? What was going on? Well, darling, the truth is, yes, he was. Absolutely. He was having a hard time staying clean back then. On top of that, his self-esteem was low, and he genuinely didn't have a clue how to even begin a conversation with someone like her. When he finally mustered the courage to dial her number, the connection was instant. He recalled, "We started speaking, and we just kept going and going and going. The conversation was completely natural." And I believe it. I bet it was a whole lot of conversation about absolutely nothing, because let's be real. Both of you were just swimming in pure lust. Not only was it easy, but Keith claimed he knew immediately that Nicole was his future. He told a popular podcast that she was the missing piece he'd been looking for his entire life. Just half a year into dating, Nicole was certain she wanted Keith as her husband. She revealed to a magazine that on her 38th birthday, Keith was standing outside their New York City apartment at 5 in the morning, holding a bunch of flowers. She said, "That was the moment I thought, this is the man I need to marry." They got engaged in 2006 and said, "I do" that June. So they met in 2005 and were married by 2006. My goodness, these celebrities really don't drag their feet, do they? They move at lightning speed. After the wedding, Nicole decided to set all of her old journals on fire because of what was written inside, which she called a lot of negative things. So, Nicole was "Is that what you're trying to say? Don't be shy now. Are you implying Nicole was a little wild?" "Yeah." "Okay. All right then." She also mentioned that her life before Keith was all about experimenting with different kinds of love, from intense fixations to unusual kinks to the boring parts of being with one person. Oh, so she's a freaky one. I knew it. I knew it. Talking about her marriage to Keith, she said, "We are deeply connected. It's a wild, incredible space to be in. It's intensely vulnerable, intensely risky. It's like you're far out in the ocean. When you make a commitment that deep, you're basically agreeing to sink or swim together." Wow, risky. She says, far out in the ocean. Honey, what kind of kinky Titanic scenario are they acting out over there? They were probably doing a whole lot of role-playing, don't you all think? I'm sure of it. But just 4 months after becoming man and wife, Nicole organized an intervention and had Keith's behind checked right back into rehab. Goodness gracious. He spent 3 months at the treatment center and admitted, "I had no clue what would happen to us." Nicole ignored all the negative talk, probably even some from her own mind, and she chose love. Or maybe she chose foolishness. Honestly, that's what I would call it anyway. In November 2007, they relocated to Tennessee and bought a farm near Nashville. They had their first daughter, Sunday Rose, in July 2008, and their second daughter, Faith, was born via surrogate in December 2010. When Nicole's father died suddenly in September 2014 from an accidental fall, Keith immediately went to support her and even sang Amazing Grace at the funeral. After that, their bond grew even stronger. Keith even wrote a song about her called The Fighter, featuring Carrie Underwood. He also gave her credit for helping him maintain his sobriety. During a public talk, he said, "I was blessed with an incredibly supportive wife. Getting clean has unlocked my creativity." And that wasn't everything. Apparently, Nicole's charms had Keith completely captivated. In his song Gemini, which is all about Nicole, he has a line that goes, "She's wild in the sheets, but a genius in the streets." And he says, "And I know that everybody knows that she's both." How does everybody know she's both? Girl, I don't really listen to much Keith Urban, but all right then, Nicole, you were putting in work. I'm not judging you, honey. But let me replay that part real quick. He said, "And I know that everybody know that she both." How does everybody know that? That brings us to January 2025. Nicole told a magazine that the key to their happy marriage was having separate bathrooms and a double-headed shower. In June 2025, Nicole posted a picture on Instagram for their 19th wedding anniversary. But just days later, during an interview with an Australian radio station, Keith seemed much less willing to talk about their relationship. The host asked, "What does Keith Urban think when he sees his gorgeous wife with handsome younger co-stars, like Zac Efron filming those steamy romantic scenes?" And then, oh, what just happened? What's wrong with him? He disconnected from the Zoom call. 3 months later, on September 29, 2025, a source confirmed the couple had split and that Nicole was the one trying desperately to save the marriage. She got left again. First Tom, and now Keith. Oh, honey, fix it, Jesus, fix it. I guess even being a freak in the bedroom can't always make a man stay. All right, let's get into the tea. Insiders leaked to TMZ that Nicole and Keith had actually been living separate lives since summer started. Nicole was holding things down with their 2 kids in Nashville, while Keith had packed his bags and moved into a solo apartment. Just one day after the official separation hit the news, Nicole was the one who filed the divorce papers. A source told People magazine, "Nicole is deeply wounded and feels completely betrayed. This is shattering for her. She's in total shock." But honey, if she's so shocked, why did she file so fast? Make it make sense. Then, just when we thought we'd heard it all, October 2nd, 2025 drops a bomb. News outlets dug up a video that was posted to social media back on September 27th. In the clip, Keith is on stage performing with 25-year-old country singer Maggie Bao. And what song are they singing? The Fighter, the very one he wrote for Nicole. Oh, it's about to get messy. The original lyrics go, "When they're trying to get to you, baby, I'll be the fighter." But guess what Keith changed it to? "When they're trying to get to you, Maggie, I'll be your guitar player." Oh, hell no. Somebody needs to snatch him up right now. Somebody hand me a belt. This calls for an immediate whooping. I mean, right. This second. And would you believe it? Maggie herself was the one who posted the original video online. Oh no, no, no. Both of them need a serious reality check, and maybe a good old-fashioned tail whipping. They're asking for it. So all signs are pointing to Keith swapping out Nicole's legendary ahem midlife magic for some brand new company. Now, we can't officially confirm this. Misty, you better sit down before you get dragged too. You're just as messy. Oh Lord. There's your new disclaimer, honey. We can't confirm this information. Sure, Jan. Okay, girl, let's keep it moving. Star Magazine reported the marriage was basically over long before the legal filing. They were spending less and less time together, and let's just say the intimacy faded. But now, a Hollywood insider named Rob Shutter is spilling that Keith was seeing not one but two different women outside the marriage. Cheating Leatherface. I don't care how long it took her to see it. You know she had to be thinking, I should have left him right where I found him. I bet that thought crossed her mind in year 3, 5, 8, 12, 15, and definitely by year 19. Yep. Honey, let's keep it real. This thing was doomed from the start. Nicole and Keith were a walking time bomb wrapped in a fairy tale fantasy. Remember, she had just climbed out of that hot mess with Tom when she jumped right into Keith's arms and his personal demons. Bingo. Nicole thought she could love the addiction right out of him. Bless her heart. But eventually the nurse gets tired, the patient gets resentful, and the romance starts gathering dust. Between the relapse roller coaster, the insecurity, and these side chick serenades, are we really surprised how this turned out? Before we close this chapter, let's pour one out for Nicole. She's been through public heartbreak, private struggles, and still carries herself with a grace and strength most of us can only dream of. Love hasn't always been her friend, but it's never dimmed her shine. Here's hoping that next time, she takes it slow, guards her peace, and finds a love that's safe, steady, and truly deserves her. If you enjoyed this video, let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching.